awesome. Well, for anyone watching live or watching this recorded, my name is Rachel Sanders. I'm the volunteer program coordinator here at eCyber Mission. And just wanted to quickly kind of go over what eCyber Mission is if you kind of stumbled across our account. But eCyber Mission is a virtual STEM competitions for students 6th to 9th grade. And the real goal of eCyber Mission is to identify that community problem and solve that through science or engineering. So I'd love for us to get connected. If you're not familiar with what eCyber Mission is, you can visit our website or you can send me an email at rsanders, SANDERS, at ecybermission.com. So enough about that, but today we're going to take the chance to talk with Miss Amanda Martin, kind of learn a little bit about her career, what she does in a day-to-day, and you guys are in for a real treat because like Amelia we interviewed last time, Amanda was also at NJNEE, which is our national judging and educational event. So she serves as a mission mentor, but has also served as a mentor on site. So I just kind of wanted you to briefly introduce yourself and kind of say where you work, what you do, and we'll kind of get into the nitty gritty in a little bit.
Okay. My name is Amanda Martin. I am a chemist with Defense Centers for Public Health Aberdeen, or DCPHA are the letters we like to use. And on a day-to-day, what my duties look like is I'm running different environmental samples, primarily water and occasionally air, and those would be IH, so industrial hygiene. And the goal of the mission for running these samples is to help improve public health and the readiness of the forces. So we can use, customers send us samples, we run these tests, give them the data, and then they are able to use that data to make educated decisions moving forward about what they need to do with whichever water we're testing, because we'll test things like drinking water or wastewaters or surface waters.
Okay, so what is your job title?
So my job title is chemist.
Chemist, okay. So tell me, like, I kind of have an overview of what you do, but tell me, like, what a day in the life looks like of Amanda Martin, chemist.
So a day in the life of Amanda Martin, chemist, requires, one, getting up probably a little bit earlier than I want to because I have an hour drive to work. But that's just my humor aside.
Well, and you have a child, so it's like it's double work being a mom and a full-time worker. But okay, so you got up, you got to work, start there.
So I get to work. First thing I do, and this is going to be, I feel like, kind of similar across any sort of occupation, is when I get to my site, log in to work computer, check and see what's going on, make sure there haven't been any like major messages or changes, check and see what the sample loads look like. And then I work on a team. So we have a smaller team, so I'm working with a total of 5 other analysts. So these are other scientists and physical science technicians. We have a couple different titles based upon experience and work grades. But regardless of that, they are all subject matter experts and they are a fantastic team to work with. And we break down who's doing what and all of the different analyses. And so depending on what I have waiting, I will hit the ground running. I'll run samples. I'll put the data packets together. So that'll be actually interesting to talk about because I can relate those data packets to the mission mentor or the mission folders later. And then I also, because I'm a chemist, so I'm a little bit higher up than the technicians, I have other duties such as data review, sometimes training other hires, and then I also have method development. So if there's a new test that we want to run, I can help. And I'm not doing this in a vacuum, it's again with my team, but I can help lead the project to expand the scope or the different analyses we're able to perform.
Okay, so let me ask you this to clarify, and some of our viewers may have the same question. So when you have people on the outside that are sending you these samples, is this like commercial properties, apartments asking water, communities, like cities? Who is asking you to test these samples?
So our main customers are going to be DoD entities, so Department of Defense. So this is going to be basically federal level entities, so different branches of the armed services. We have a lot of Army samples, sometimes Navy, Air Force, and then different health facilities. So when I was talking about IH, industrial hygiene, that is your working environment safe? So one of the really cool methods we run is hazardous drug analysis. So it tests to make sure that doctors and pharmacists that are giving and administering cancer drugs, they do the clean procedure and then they wipe everything down. They send us the wipes. And through our analysis, they can get an idea of if their cleaning procedure is actually cleaning it correctly, or if they need to go back and revisit what they're doing.
That's super cool. It kind of sounds like a lot of your work touches a lot of different fields, and I mean, I know that just cleanliness in hospitals is a big deal too. So it's cool that it's not just, making sure the water's safe to drink, but going down to that level of making sure these surgeries and procedures are safe. So I know you said you work in a team on a day-to-day. Is that ever challenging for you? I hope your coworkers aren't watching if you say yes. But no. But how is that for you? How is your teamwork? Like, how do you get along with others, especially after like a long day?
So I personally I love the team that I work on. We have a fantastic first line supervisor, and then we have a really good communication
Hmm.
system, and we also have a good level, like a base understanding of what our expectations are.
Hmm.
And we all have a very similar like work ethic and drive. So it's we see samples and we know we have samples that need to get run. We want to get them run. And so we have a very refined process of knowing kind of who's expected to do what, and then we can also lean on each other because we have a lot of cross training. So we have different when I talk about different analyses, it's from start to finish, there's different processes we have to do based upon the requested test. So for example, I will do total organic carbon and nitrate. These are two different instruments. And then I also have ammonia. So my coworker who primarily runs nitrate, say she's really busy or she's out or she just needs some help, she can be like, hey, can you run ammonia for me today? And
Hmm.
so through that communication, we are able to accomplish our mission. And then as like a data reviewer, sometimes it's like I notice, well, my job is to check and make sure everything in the packet's good to go. And sometimes there might be mistakes. And whenever there is a mistake, I I always feel a little bit weird when I have to go talk to an analyst
Hmm.
because I, I never like to be that person coming in with a complaint. Um, but how I handle that is I take it with the approach that we're working together, and it's not a oh no you made a mistake. It's hey let's fix this. Let's learn instead of latching onto it as oh you made this mistake and we have to correct it. It's a look at this opportunity to learn something new and to improve upon your skill set. And my team, we always push each other to try and become even better
Yeah.
analysts.
No, and I want to talk about 2 points that you touched on. The first one is I think it was really cool that you kind of talked about like designated roles as teammates and team workers because we like have that in like a lot of our mission live chats that we talk about how important it is for when you guys are in your teams to figure out who is doing what. So there's not an overlap of work being done, but there's also something that's not being missed. And I also liked that you mentioned kind of the failures or the mistakes not really being bad, that we people have to make mistakes to learn, and that it's a good learning experience. So I think it's cool that you said those two things because that's really stuff that we try and correlate or relate to the students to understand. So thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
How did you end up a chemist at DoD? Like what kind of education did you have? Were you always interested in STEM? That's just kind of a unique career path.
So this is actually a really fun story, and if you haven't figured it out already, I tend to be long-winded, so trying to keep that short and to the point. I've always been interested in STEM and science. However, I never did like a lot of like I never did science projects and science fairs growing up.
Hmm.
And then when I get to high school, we had a class, we had a chemistry class, um, and it was International Baccalaureate because I was in a like it's a little bit above AP. So they combined the IB and the AP students because there's not that many high
Oh,
school students
what?
taking advanced chemistry. Um, and so I failed third quarter chemistry in high school, and I was devastated because I was staying after school, trying to get a lot of help, and it wasn't making sense. And it was really frustrating because there was so much going on, and it was upsetting because I was like, I felt like I should know this,
Yeah.
especially with the amount of work. Something should make sense. I shouldn't be like, my third quarter was an actual, like, it was an E on my report card, and I had never done that before in my life. And then I get to college. I start off at a community college, and I'm going for poli-sci, specifically international relations. And the advisor that's helping me pick my schedule, she's like, hey, because of everything I did in high school, you can be in honors. We have some special honors courses we're trying out. And I was like, okay, what classes? And she's like, we have honors chemistry. And I was like,
not me.
I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And she was like, what? I'm like, this is my moment to prove to myself it was the situation.
Heck yeah. I love that.
And it was like one of the easiest classes that I felt like I had ever taken, was that first semester of chemistry. And it helped rekindle my love of STEM and that value I had behind it. So when I talk about, like, when you make mistakes and you make failures, trying to get that, I'm a perfectionist, and I can almost guarantee any student participating is a perfectionist and they want things to be perfect. Science is messy. It's not going to work out the first time. And that's where you write it down, you think about it, and sometimes you got to walk away, take a break, and then come back.
No, I love that redemption arc. I love that for you.
And so that's from there. Oh, I was going to say, just from there, I continued on with chemistry, or being double major with poli-sci and chemistry, and then got an internship working in a chemistry lab, which is actually where I work now. And it just, like I said, it was almost like everything fell in place by putting in that extra effort.
No, I think that's super cool, and I love that wasn't like you kind of fell off your horse, but you got back on, and that's pretty cool because that takes some resilience to do. I want to shift gears a little bit into kind of some like advice for our students. So first of all, if you guys are just joining, I did want to preface that Amanda was actually able to join us at our in-person event, which is our national judging and educational event. And so she was able to be a mentor there in person. So she has some really great insight on kind of what the judges are looking for. And she actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, but you participated as a regional judge this year as well.
Correct. So 2023 and 2024, I served as regional judges. And then also this year, I was able to be a mentor at nationals, which was a fantastic experience, and I absolutely loved.
I literally, I feel like it's like summer camp on steroids. It's so much fun. So just talk to me a little bit about, before we kind of get into that NJNE, let's talk to me about what kind of projects, like what stood out to you? Like what was what about something made it from good to great?
So as a regional judge, we are given the mission folders. And that is really the nitty gritty where we get to learn about the students and their projects. Because when they go to present, it's 5 minutes. They have the 5-minute presentation and 5-minute question to answer. And it's very almost high level at that point. And so with the mission folders, the ones that are really organized and have a refined, presented, well-cited information, those I love.
Yeah.
Now, was that the topic you were trying to address, or were you asking more about scope of projects?
Well, let's do both. I think feedback you just gave is important. So let's talk about scope now.
All right. So for the projects that really stood out to me, those were the ones where you could really see, looking through the mission folder, the impact on the community and how much it meant to the students. So there was one year where one of the years I was a regional judge. One of the engineering projects was creating a system that could help locate where an active shooter might be in a building based off of sounds, and just going through their folder and seeing all of the research they put into it, all of the experts they talked with. I know it's a very heavy topic, and I apologize for not thinking that one through before talking about it. But
it's prevalent. So
you could see reading through that how much they cared and how much good they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And I think I've heard you even speak about it, how important it is for students to pick a mission folder that they're passionate about, because when you're passionate about something, you're probably going to put more effort and work into it because you want it to be good. So
and then that
off.
I was going to say, and that passion really comes through. And even in other topics, there was a team from Texas area. I say Texas area, realizing how large Texas is. That they were looking at cleaning used fracking water to then maybe be able to reuse it for agricultural purposes to help reduce the impact on ground aquifers. And so again, these are just, for me, very impressive subjects to hear about and high level, very relevant topics. Yeah. And so not only do they have a high relevance and a really impactful result should they be implemented in the community, but just picking a project that you have a heart for, and then especially if it's impacting your community, people you can engage with and speak to. Yeah. So some of the things that, again, projects stood out was when they had several different experts that they were able to reach out to and have interviews with or have conversations with.
Yeah. And that's actually a great little plug that I want to briefly kind of branch off in that. So I know we've talked about Amanda's had a bunch of different roles, but what she's participating right now is a mission mentor, and that's actually a resource for our students. So STEM professionals like Amanda are available to do team chats, classroom chats, and also kind of, we do things like this and we do some on Zoom too, but we also have a message board that our students are, they can access that through their account and kind of ask questions. So just like Amanda's talking about the importance of getting other STEM professionals involved. Obviously, they're not, our mission mentors aren't going to conduct that research for you, but they can be great to kind of bounce ideas off of, ask for some redirection and stuff like that. And I think that's super important that you talked about that. I do want to ask, I know you said you were able to review those mission folders. You've gotten to see some students present and everything. Do you have any overall kind of advice for those students before they, let's say, before they even pick their project?
So before they even pick their project, is to have a plan going on. So as a, like, you make sure you know what your deadlines are, and have a plan to meet those deadlines that also gives you some wiggle room. So say there's a deadline where you have to submit a draft or like your topic by, this is me making up something, so don't hold me to it. But say you have something due November 15th, make sure you have a plan to have it done by November 10th with time to review it and look through it and make sure you have corrections. And then just having that plan and having some conversations about with your group about what you want to accomplish, what type of project you want to work on. And that'll help you get your project idea and kind of go through the rest.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. It's also what she's saying in layman's terms is don't procrastinate either. So I think that's, yeah, no, I think we're, a lot of us are, that's creature of habit. And so we'll do that. But I think you can definitely see when students have that well thought out timeline on it. And just to briefly throw in there too, one of the rule changes that we had this year was actually, Amanda was talking about the importance of folders being clear and concise. So we do have a new change this year, that the 40-page limit of attachments. So we have that guidance on our competition rules too. So if you want to kind of look closer at that and read that word for word, but we are hoping for some concise mission folders because Amanda, I mean, like you deal with a ton of data, and I'm sure that if you included all of your data on reports to your supervisors and stuff, they would be like, what are you doing? This is going to take me days to read. Is that right?
Yep. Yes. And because like the report I put together is one report when there can be on just my team, we have like 9 to 11 different analyses we perform. And then there are other teams that have maybe 1 or 2 analyses, but they're reporting 10 to even 100 analytes. So that's like a specific thing you're looking for in the test. So if you're trying to give them all of the information all of the time, it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
So being able to, and this is something where using the message boards or having some chats could also really help with the mission folders. And it would be, I know this is a little bit of a selfish plug-in, but like this is part of the reason why I wanted to be a mission mentor, is because I saw several projects where I was like, oh, if they had just had a little bit of resource or guidance to help refine something, it would make a good project great. So being able to, we don't want to, so a mission folder, have it tell a story, kind of. And like that's what I do with my data packets, and that's how we train our team. So it's like you have your start, your beginning, or your start, your middle, your end, and then you can kind of see the transitions and the thought processes. So having your mission folder tell a story, and in that story have, instead of pages of raw data, see if you can refine it into a couple of key charts that highlights important trends. And that'll make it really digestible and help it stick out for someone reading it as a national judge. And then it'll also help you when you get to your presentation, because then you have this chart that you've worked on that highlights the important aspects of your data, and that can be what your slide is. And then you can speak from the slide.
I love it. That's great advice. And I want to end on a fun note. I just want you to say what your experience was at our national event. So just tell me like what you thought about it.
It was amazing. So one of my coworkers had gone previously, and she's like, you'd love this. This is exactly your alley, because one of the things I enjoy mentoring and raising up, essentially trying to assist the next generation of STEM. That's just where a lot of my heart is. And so when you're at nationals, it's almost overwhelming with the amount of excitement and the energy. It's just you're go, go, go. You're waking up early, and there's some late night. Like it's early, a couple of early mornings and late nights. So it feels like it's exhausting, but you almost don't realize how much time is passing because there's so many different activities. Like I get to work with students on helping them refine their presentations. There's different workshops and fairs where you have such a wealth of information at your disposal. And plus it's just fun, because at that point you've done a lot of the work. You've done all of the work. You're just there to, I say you're just there, but you've earned the spot to be there to present.
Reward. You've earned.
And then you get to see your peers from literally all over the nation. Like we had a team from Hawaii.
Yeah, that was cool. I felt bad for them flying, but that was cool. It was cool to see them. But no, and I just want to thank you so much for taking time today and talking with our students. And I would encourage any of our students listening to please use our message board, talk with your team advisors, get them to request a team chat, and they can meet with maybe Amanda, maybe another mission mentor just like them. So I would encourage you guys to do that. And before we sign off, I do want to plug our next Instagram live chat. We are able to interview Elise Stone from NASA, and that will be on the 18th. I know, it's exciting. That'll be on the 18th of November at 8 p.m. But I hope you will give our account a follow. And if you guys have any questions, please shoot me an email at rsanders@ecybermission.com. Amanda, you have been amazing. Thank you so much for everything tonight.
And thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. You guys have a great Monday night. See ya.
See ya.